my witnesses here. So.
All right, counsel, if we're ready for the jury, we'll bring the jury in.
Ready, Judge.
We'll bring the jury in.
Please be seated.
And the record will reflect the jury is back, appropriately seated in the jury box. We are ready to continue, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Perangeli.
Thank you. We would call Dr. Theodore Brown.
Approach the podium, raise your right hand for the judge, please.
Do you hereby solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, this you do under the pains and penalties of perjury? Nice enough.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, if you would state your full name for the record, spell your last.
It's Theodore Brown, B-R-O-W-N.
Sir, what do you do?
I'm a forensic pathologist.
And where's that at, sir?
We're located in Kalamazoo, Michigan at Western Michigan University Homer Stryker MD School of Medicine.
And what exactly is a forensic pathologist?
So a forensic pathologist is in charge of doing post-mortem examinations or autopsy examinations on suspicious related deaths, so that includes unexpected deaths as well as homicides or suspected homicides, suicides, and accidents.
Are you licensed?
Yes, I am.
Where, sir?
Here in the state of Michigan.
Okay. And how long have you been licensed, sir?
The state of Michigan since 2016.
And what kind of training do you have to become a forensic pathologist?
Yes, so after completing college, 4 years of college, I attended medical school for 4 years. Following 4 years of medical school, I completed 4 years of pathology residency training, followed by 1 year of focused, specialized training in forensic pathology.
Okay. What is the American Board of Pathology, sir?
So American Board of Pathology oversees all pathologists, and in order to become a licensed pathologist and a licensed forensic pathologist, I need to take national examinations, which is given by the American Board of Pathology, and that's why I can say that I'm a pathologist, specifically a forensic pathologist.
Okay. Is there a certification or something that goes along with that?
There is, yes.
And what does that certification entail?
That certification entails that by completing my training and passing the national examinations, I'm certified to perform medical legal death investigations, which includes post-mortem examinations as well as, which means autopsy examinations.
Beyond all the schooling and the residency, passing the boards and testing, do you continue to keep current on the field of forensic pathology?
I do, yes.
And what do you do to do that, sir?
Yes, I attend national meetings a couple times a year, national and statewide meetings, as well as continuing medical education opportunities, whether online or locally offered.
Do you ever attend seminars?
I do, yes.
Do you ever teach at any of those at all?
I do, yes.
What do you? Okay. How often do you attend those? Just.
So there's one state of Michigan annual conference that I attend, and typically at least 2 national meetings every year.
Okay. So you indicated that you do post-mortem examinations. Just call those autopsies, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been doing autopsies? Since the start of 2016?
Since I got my license in July of 2016, practicing, and so the middle of July of 2016.
Okay. And prior to there, during your residency or training, I'm assuming you're observing autopsies?
No, not only observing, but mainly doing autopsies and learning how to do autopsies. That's part of the training.
Okay. So 4 years of that also.
Yes.
And can you describe to the jury, when you're doing an autopsy, where do you do autopsies specifically? Where's the location that you specifically do an autopsy at?
Currently, now our autopsy, our morgue is located in Kalamazoo, Michigan at the medical school.
Okay. Can you take the jury through the procedure that you use when doing an autopsy?
Yes, the procedure slightly differs based on the circumstances of someone's death, but I'll focus specifically on what I did in this case here. Basically, what happens is that the decedent's body arrives to our facility in a secured body transportation bag. It's sealed and has the decedent's name on it. I verify that indeed that is the decedent that the tag lists. I then, for this examination, I did what's called a full body x-ray. X-ray from head to toe, looking for any retained bullets. After that, I proceed to do what's called an external examination. An external examination is an examination from, again, head to toe, describing everything from hair color to any tattoos that may be present, as well as documenting any injuries on the decedent's body. After the external examination, I proceed to the internal examination. It's a multi-step process that starts with making a Y-shaped incision across the chest and down into the abdomen. And I then proceed to remove the chest plate and look at all the organs. Then proceed to look at the neck structures, as well as make an incision in the back of the head to evaluate the brain.
And you do the internal examination after those incisions are made and you've progressed through that, sir?
Yes, that's all part of the internal examination, yes.
You also do toxicology reports and things like that? Or
Yes.
examinations?
Yes, so during the examination, internal part of the examination, I collect several specimens for drug testing to include blood as well as urine and fluid from the eyes.
Okay. And you're based in Kalamazoo. Who are you responsible for in terms of your job?
Yes, so
Of what counties?
Yes, so we serve as the medical examiner office for 12 counties in the state of Michigan, including Berrien County.
Okay. And over your time as a forensic pathologist, how many autopsies have you performed?
Say approximately 1,100 to 1,200 autopsies.
Those are what you've performed.
That is correct.
Okay. And prior to that, during your residency, you also had more experience
Yes,
beyond the 11 to 1,200?
yes,
Okay. Have you performed autopsies where the cause of death is gunshot wounds?
yes, I have.
Okay. Have you testified previously as a forensic pathologist, sir?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Where have you testified previously as a forensic pathologist?
Multiple counties here in the state of Michigan, including Berrien County, Kalamazoo, Grand Traverse, Wayne County.
Okay. Have you testified all of those as an expert in the field of forensic pathology?
Yes, I have.
Your Honor, I ask that the witness be allowed to testify as an expert in the field of forensic pathology.
No objection to that, Judge.
You may testify as an expert in that area.
Your Honor, just for the record at this time, I have several photographs that we're going to be on this screen only. Exhibits 55 through 73. I've spoken with defense counsel. I don't believe he has any objection to those being admitted. Actually, 72 and 73 were already admitted, but 55 through 71 being admitted.
That's correct, Judge. I have no objection to the rule of admission.
So 55 through 71 are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, sir, you indicated you performed an autopsy for a case from St. Joseph Township Police Department, correct?
That is correct,
And
yes.
that involved Tyrone Hassel III?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you know it was Tyrone Hassel III, sir?
So when his body arrived to our facility, it was secured in a body transport bag that included his name on it.
Okay, and when did you perform the autopsy, sir?
Performed the autopsy on January 2nd of 2019.
And you followed the exact order that you already testified about in terms of the external, the internal, and going from there?
Yes, I did.
Sir, I want to hand you what's been marked. This People's Exhibit 55, sir. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay, admitted. Is that Tyrone Hassel?
Yes, it is.
Tyrone Hassel III, I should say.
I'm sorry, yes.
Now, for the record, a good deal of these pictures are going to be somewhat graphic in terms of injuries. Is that
That is
sir?
correct, yes.
And 55 actually includes medical treatment that he received prior to coming, evidence of medical treatment that he received prior to coming to your facility. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, that is correct.
There's something in his mouth.
That is correct, yes.
What do you call that in his mouth that what the medics used? I know he testified, the medic already testified to it, I can't remember what he
called it.
Yes, it's an airway device. It's either an eye gel airway device or an endotracheal tube.
Okay. And this time I put 55 on the screen for the jury. When you were doing the external examination, sir, did you notice, can you tell the jury what you found in terms of evidence of injury?
Yes, the most significant finding on the external examination were multiple gunshot wound defects,
Okay, and roughly where were those located, sir?
primarily on the head, the neck, and the right arm.
Sir, I'm going to talk more specifically about each wound, okay, sir?
Okay,
Now, you did a report for this, correct?
I did.
And that's standard on any autopsy?
It is, yes.
In your report, you label the wounds 1 through 5. Would that be fair to say, sir?
That is correct.
Now, when you label the wounds 1 through 5, is that your determination that that is the order of how the wounds occurred, or is that just for label purposes?
That is just for label purposes. I do not know the order in which the gunshot wound occurred.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to hand you what's been admitted as People's 56, sir. Are you familiar with that picture?
Yes, I am.
And that picture was taken during the autopsy, is that correct, sir?
That is correct.
All right. What is People's 56, sir?
This is, we're looking at the decedent's left side of the frontal scalp here, and this is an entry wound, gunshot wound, entrance gunshot wound.
And for the record, my intent is not to keep this up. If the jury needs to see it anymore, please let me know. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. I'm sorry, I shouldn't talk.
No, it's all right.
Okay. So that is an entry wound you indicated on the left side of the scalp.
Yes, left side of the frontal scalp, yes.
Okay. Now, when you were doing an internal examination, okay, did you determine the direction of travel from that wound?
Yes,
Okay. And does that appear to be a gunshot wound?
yes.
So the direction of travel of the bullet, can you tell the jury the direction of travel, sir?
Yes, may I reference my autopsy report?
If that would help you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. So after entering the left side of the frontal scalp, the bullet proceeded through the skull, through the brain, and the bullet exited on the right side of his face. So the directionality was left to right, and downward.
You indicated the left side of the face, sir.
Excuse me, the right side of the face.
Right side of the face.
Yes.
I'm going to hand you the People's 57, 58, and 59, sir. Looking at People's 57, can you tell the jury what they're about to see before I put it on the screen, sir?
Yes, so we're looking at the decedent's right side of the face. This is how he came to our facility, unclean, so there's a lot of blood around it. But right there, there is a defect right in front of his right ear, and that is the exit wound associated with this entrance wound on the left side of the scalp.
And I'm going to have People's 58, sir. Can you explain to the jury what they're about to see with People's 58?
Yes, so this is the same depiction on the right side of the decedent's face, but it's now cleaned up, so you'll better be able to visualize the defects. And so as you'll see, there are two defects in this picture, but as far as the gunshot wound that we're talking about right now, where it enters the left side of the frontal scalp and exit in front of the right ear, the exit wound is the one that's to the left of the screen. That is correct. Yes, that's the exit wound for gunshot wound number 1.
Okay. And People's Exhibit 59, sir.
Yes.
Actually, I'm not. What does People's Exhibit 59 show?
Or the picture for number 59 shows there's a probe that I've been able to put in the the trajectory of where the bullet passed from the left side of his scalp and exited. So it's depicting the pathway here connecting the entry to the exit wound.
I'll put this up briefly for the jury. Is this being the entrance wound here and the exit wound on the side, on the left side of the photo?
That is correct, yes.
My approach, sir. Sir, I'm hanging what's been marked and admitted as pupils 60 through 63, sir. Taking a look. Was there a, that was gunshot wound number 1. I want to talk about gunshot wound number 2 now. Is that what 60 through 63 pertain to?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Can you describe for the jury the entrance of gunshot wound that you labeled as number 2?
Yes, gunshot wound label number 2 is an entry gunshot wound on the left side of the forehead above his left eyebrow, and it proceeded to go to the back, perforating the left side or going through the left side of his skull and brain, and exited the back side of the left side, the back left side of his head.
Okay. The general direction of travel of that gunshot wound?
It would be front to back and slightly right to left.
Okay. Was there any soot or stippling around the entrance wound?
No, there was not.
Can you explain what stippling is?
Yes, so stippling is unburned gunpowder that comes from the actual gun itself, and depending on the location of the gun in relation to the skin of the person being shot, there can be some gunpowder residue associated with the gunshot entry wound, and so if there is any gunpowder residue or what's so-called a stippling associated with the entrance wound, it can tell me that it's consistent with a gun being at a certain distance from the decedent's entry wound.
And there was none in this case, sir.
That is correct.
All right. So looking at People's Exhibit 60, that is the entrance wound from entrance wound from gunshot 2.
Yes.
'61 is a close-up, sir.
That is correct.
63 is the exit wound in the back of the head,
It is, yes.
and 64 would be the trajectory.
That is correct.
Okay. Sir, I want Your Honor, at this time, I'm moving to withdraw Exhibit 68. I don't think it's appropriate.
I certainly have no objection to that, Judge.
68,
68, ma'am.
you're withdrawing it completely?
I am withdrawing that one.
Okay. 68 is withdrawn
Thank you.
without objection.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as People's 64, 65, 66, 67, and 69. Okay. 64, sir. Now we're talking about gunshot wound number 3. Can you tell the jury where gunshot wound number 3 was located? The entrance wound, sir.
Yes. So for gunshot wound labeled number 3, there's an entry gunshot wound on the the inferior or lower aspect of the right side of his face.
And where did that exit, sir?
So an entry wound here on the right side of the face, and exited on the base of his left side of the neck.
So what was the direction of travel, sir?
So the direction of travel would be from right to left and downward.
Were there any characteristics of that wound, such as stippling, anything along those lines, sir?
Yes, so associated with the entry gunshot wound labeled number 3, there was a gunpowder stippling associated with this entry wound.
What does that indicate to you, sir, in your field?
Yes, so given the presence of gunpowder stippling associated with this entrance wound, this is consistent with an intermediate range gunshot wound, which means that this is consistent with the gun being within approximately 1 to 3 feet from entering the decedent's right side of his face.
I'm going to show you people 64, sir. The entrance wound for gunshot number 3. Would that be the wound on the right side of this photograph, sir?
That is correct.
Going to 65, sir. The exit wound for gunshot number 3.
Yes.
Can you explain to the jury what they're looking at essentially?
Yes, so we're now looking at the decedent's left side of his neck. Again, the entry wound was here on the right side of the face, and you can see at the base, very base, so it's on the top defect there. That's where the projectile exited. So entry wound here and exit wound here.
Looking at 65, a little better close-up, does that indicate the exit wound a little clearer in the middle of the picture there?
Yes, in the middle of the picture there is the exit gunshot wound for gunshot wound labeled number 3.
And that's exhibit 66. And looking at people's exhibit 67, that will show the direction of travel, sir,
That is correct, yes.
from the right side to out the left side.
Again, yes, right side of the face, out the left side of the neck, yes.
Is that slightly downward, sir?
It is, yes.
I want to talk to you what you marked as gunshot wound number 4, people's exhibit 68. Where was the gunshot wound number 4 that you labeled?
Gunshot wound number 4, as you saw previously, so gunshot wound number 3 again entered here, exited here. I've labeled at the base, very base of the left side of his neck is another what's called Gray's gunshot wound, and so that is labeled number 4.
So I'm going to show you people's exhibit 69. Is that a close-up of the Gray's wound as you describe it?
Yes,
Okay. Can you tell the direction of travel for that wound?
I cannot.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Based on the positioning of gunshot wound 3, entering from the right side of the face and out the left side of the neck, could the positioning of gunshot wound number 4 in close proximity to exit wound for gunshot wound number 3, could that be associated?
Yes, very much so. Given the location of that Gray's gunshot wound that we just looked at and looking at it right next to where gunshot wound number 3 exited, it is very possible that it could be a continuation of the bullet exiting the left side of his neck.
Is it impossible for you to definitively say that, though?
That is correct. It's impossible.
Last, sir, talked about gunshot wound. You labeled as number 5. Can you explain to the jury essentially gunshot wound number 5, the location of that, sir?
Yes, gunshot wound number 5, as we're looking at the right upper extremity here, and there's an entry gunshot wound on the right shoulder.
Okay. And could you determine the direction of travel for that bullet?
Yes, so the bullet entered the right shoulder and went downward through the soft tissues and muscles in his right arm, as well as it struck his right humerus, or the bone here in the right arm, and I recovered that projectile in his right arm.
Record this, 70 is the first exhibit you have there, correct, sir, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes,
And that's just a closer up, equals 71?
closer up and cleaned up.
Were you able to extract the projectile that entered for people, or for the gunshot wound number 5?
I did, yes.
Did you photograph that, sir?
Yes, I did.
I'll show you what's been admitted already as People's Exhibit 72 and 73. Is that a photograph of the projectile that you retrieved from his arm?
It is, yes.
And that was the condition that you retrieved it?
Yes.
Is that the extent of the external injuries in your internal examination dealing with those external injuries, sir?
Yes, those are the 5 gunshot wounds. Yes.
Sir, you indicated toxicology was done?
Yes.
What were the results of the toxicology for Mr. Hassel?
Toxicology detected no drugs.
As for the severity of the injury, can you describe the severity of those injuries to the jury, sir?
Ultimately, I believe that the cause of death is multiple gunshot wounds. So in total, these multiple gunshot wounds led to his death.
And that's based on your expert opinion, sir?
Yes.
These injuries were fatal?
Yes.
Did you determine the manner of death, sir?
Yes.
What was that, sir?
Homicide.
Nothing further.
I have nothing for Dr. Brown, Judge.
All right, thank you. You may step down, may the witness be excused.
Yes, Judge.
No objection.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to send you back to the jury room again, approximately 5 minutes. I remind you, you can talk about anything you want, like your acceptance.
All right, please.